everybody, welcome again. This is Josh Phelps here with FSD, and today I have a bit of a badass. Well, a much shorter badass than I must add. This is a 1987 Chevrolet S10 short bed pickup truck, and it's not your typical work truck or S10. This thing has a 383 stroker that's been bored out to a 388 all motor. No supercharger, no pro charger, no turbos. This is an all motor car. The only other thing about it is it is hooked up for nitrous, but the nitrous has never been used on this motor. It's a beautiful candy apple red exterior, beautiful weld racing wheels. You got the Mickey Thompson ET Street performance radial tires on the back. The back end has been tubbed out. It features a 12-gallon fuel cell in the back. Now, how did we get this car? That is a moped, by the way. Anyways, we traded a man up north a beautiful 1965 Shelby Fastback that we turned into a GT350 Tribute. And we traded this guy for this truck and a Fairlane that we are actually doing a full restoration on. This Fairlane features 1,000 horsepower all motor, and it is incredible sound car. Now, about this truck, which I'm currently looking at, the interior is quite comfortable. It features the Pro Car bucket racing seats, and right up on the dash we got a beautiful RPM monster gauge, dead center, and it is just in your face. Right on the steering wheel there's a blue button. That is your nitrous in case you ever need to use it. And right behind the passenger seat, that is where the Eldebrock 10-pound nitrous tank is, and it's all set up, it's all ready to go. So enough about this car, let's take this thing out for a spin. I'm going to show you how incredible this car is. Alright, so when we're getting into our little S10 here, the seats, as you can tell, they're the racing bucket seats by Pro Car seats. They have regulated and approved for the track lap seat belts. So I'm going to show you how we get into them. And getting into this car is a little different. The steering is not tilt steering, it is stationary as it is. So I'm about 6'6", and when I get into them, I kind of do that one leg in and slide effect, and it works well for me. So getting into it, right leg in, and as you can tell, I fit nice and comfortably in it, and it really does well with this car, especially with that candy apple paint job on it. Anyways, putting on the lap belts. So our lap belts are simple and easy to use. This right here, this is your buckling area. And as you can see, it's actually still in the package. It's still brand new since we just installed them. It's quite simple. You see you got a hook right here. And on this side, you've got a buckle. So you can just imagine how those go together. All you're going to really do, make sure you lift the hook up, take your buckle, slide it in, and you're going to hook right in between that. You'll see it right there. And then just tighten up your lap belt, and you're pretty much set up inside the car. Now, in front of us, it's a beautiful original style S10 dash setup. It's real simple. It does have AC that does work, surprisingly. You don't have a radio because you're not going to really hear it, and you're not going to really have enough miles to use it. Anyways, up in front we got our Chevrolet steering wheel. Simple steering wheel. It's got a leather wrap on it. You got a blue button here, that is your nitrous button. Up in front you've got a Automotive Sport Comp monster RPM gauge. I mean, it takes up the entire rest of the gauges. You have a speedometer gauge back there, and you have a fuel gauge back there. Don't really work. The reason I guess they put that monster in there is you're not going to really be paying attention to how fast you're going. As we move over to the rest of the setup, we got some little toggle switches here. Those become very important when we're starting up the car. You have 3 gauge pods over here. You got a temperature gauge and an oil pressure gauge. and you have an extra gauge in case you ever need to put something in there, maybe like a fuel gauge. And over in your glove box, if you open that, that is actually where you find up the MSD boxes and everything. So you got your MSD ignition box, you got your fuses, that all right there, and basically a pointless glove box. Not really storing anything in it. So, first off, we're going to do to start up our vehicle is we're going to want to turn on the kill switch that's actually located in the rear bumper. So, once we turn on the kill switch, you're going to hear the fan start to turn on. That means all the electrical stuff is turning on. These switches up underneath the dash I was mentioning before, you got 3 switches. You got your throttle switch, which engages the throttle. Then you have your NOS, which is the NOS fuel pump. I can really use that. And then you have your fuel pump. So you're going to want to turn the fuel and the throttle on. And that's going to help start the vehicle. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our square GM key here, stick it into the ignition, and then turn this little tiny monster on. Bump it into reverse. You push it back, you're now in neutral. And now when you're driving, you only have 2 speeds to worry about. So you're going to push it all the way back. All the way back is first gear. Bump it up, you got second gear. Simple and easy. When you always drive, you're going to want to make sure you're in first at red lights, and then bump it to second and drive. Nice and simple. Now, if you see in a lot of our videos, especially our 1973 Mach 1 Mustang that we currently have for sale now. If you have seen that video, you know of a guy that we'd like to go to known as Wes Pullin Automotive by Design. Wes does all of our paint work, mechanical work, interior work. He does everything for us. He's our go-to guy here in Winter Garden, Florida. The other thing about Wes is he's kind of grown up a little bit differently than I have. I love cars. I just wish I knew how to do burnouts as well as Wes does. And with a car such as this, we're going to take it over to Wes, and he's going to do a lot of burnouts for us. And they're going to be quite incredible and fun.